Welcome. Today's People Worth Meeting introduces us to S.L. Stebel, a best-selling novelist and an award-winning screenwriter who in 1975 was invited to Australia as an executive motion picture script consultant, and in a series of lectures, seminars, and work on such prize-winning films as Picnic at Hanging Rock and Storm Boy, is given considerable credit for stimulating the so-called revolution in the Australian film industry. He is a charter member of the Santa Barbara Writers Conference, where he conducts a workshop in dramatic writing.
Would each of you introduce yourselves, tell us something about your writing credits, where you're from, and what you hope to get out of this workshop?
Okay, I'm Kathleen Lynch. I've been a poet for years, and I teach poetry in the schools through California Poets in the Schools. And I'm starting for the first time in my life to try to write fiction. And I am here to not only enjoy the craft and effort of all the other writers, but to learn some things that will help me write good fiction.
And I'm Katie Good, and I'm from Ventura, and I've written a little bit for a lot of different media over the years, and I'm trying to focus in on screenplays now, and I'm in Sid's workshop to learn how to use dramatic writing more effectively and to learn dramatic principles of writing.
My name is Richard Dillon. I'm from Arizona. I've worked as a marketing writer, technical writer, and I'm now trying to break into fiction, so I need to pick up some of the techniques.
My name's Janie Mudrick. I'm from Santa Barbara, and I started writing around 2 years ago, so I'm basically a novice. So I'm writing purely by instinct, and I have to learn how to sort of structure that.
My name is Robert Ray. I'm a mystery writer. I've got 5 novels out. I'm from Irvine, and the reason I'm here is because I discovered that Sid Stebel is a genius, and I want to borrow whatever he's got to give.
I'm Naomi Jacobs, and I live in Los Angeles. I had a play produced last year, and I've written a new play, and I hope to learn how to write movies and learn more about structure.
I'm Susan Schnurr. I'm a lawyer in Washington, D.C., and my writing credits are legal briefs. And a couple of years ago, I started writing short stories, and now I'm working on a screenplay, and I'm here for help with structure.
I'm John Haas. I'm from Boulder, Colorado. I'm a university sociologist who's looking for a change of career into poetry and fiction and drama.
My name is Matt Palmieri. I'm from San Diego. I've got some nonfiction articles published. I'm currently working on a novel, some short stories, and I'm collaborating on the short stories with Phil Williams, who's a mystery writer.
I'm Allie Cuthbert from San Diego, and I'm an interior designer by profession, but I'd rather be a writer. I've been writing since I was little, working on a novel right now. I've written a film script and several short stories.
My name is David Smith. I'm from San Diego. I'm a scientist and a writer. I've been writing for about 20 years, fiction, novels, and screenplays for about 5 years.
I'm Carol Schmidt, most recently from San Diego. I spent 14 years as a newspaper reporter and freelance writer. And after a lot of obituaries and newsroom copy, I write fiction.
I'm Ellen Young, and I just finished a novel. I have written for the newspapers, and I wrote an article about women in Vietnam and won a literary award last year for that. And also was picked by HBO to be their technical advisor for a film that they just did on women in Vietnam. And I am here to hone my novel.
Okay. I'm Sid Stebel, first among equals. You're all writers, and I believe in writers teaching writers, and to give you what I hope is a little confidence in my ability to come up with anything that will be helpful to you. I should tell you that successful writers, for the most part, don't know the writing process and don't need to know the writing process, because instinctively or intuitively or over the years through very hard work, they have achieved their success through trial and error or through instinct or through a gift that comes to them, and they're able to deliver their work. But I was brought to Australia in 1975 as a script consultant, and discovered that every script in the country was on my desk when I arrived, and to save my sanity, I had to figure out some formula for dealing with the material. And in doing that, I came up with two things that I think are all important in the writing of any piece of work, let alone a piece of fiction, and let alone dramatic writing, which is the who is this story about, and the what, which is what the theme of the piece is. If you have not answered the what, you are not through writing. You will know that you're through with a piece of work when you're able to articulate a single, small in words, but large in scope, let's say, theme. It can be revenge is bittersweet. It can be love transforms anyone. Any simple statement, but one that has many implications. Once you have that theme, you can then rewrite your material and do what the Greeks said you should do for drama, which is that every line in a play, they said, I say in any piece of fiction, book, screenplay, or play, must do one of three things, or in the best of all possible worlds, all three things simultaneously. Define character, advance the action, or create atmosphere. If you do that, it seems like a terrible task, but once you know what your story is about, then everything flows from that. I would be remiss if I didn't also give you my way of tapping into your unconscious. This is not a mystical procedure, it's a very practical one. It's designed to get at the subliminal forces in your material, and in order to do that, in order for you to understand how to read your own work and understand what those words are saying to you, your subconscious has to come into play. This is a way to reach your subconscious. It's an exercise. It's not a writing exercise. It is a verbal exercise, even though you write down these words and phrases. What you do is you go to your writing desk at whatever hour you normally write. Probably first thing in the morning would be the best, however. Something mystical happens if you go in the middle of the night. Everything seems magical until you read it in the cold light of day. But first thing in the morning, sit down, grab a piece of paper, and write at white-hot speed anything that pops into your head. You don't write in rhythm or in poetry, or the words should not scan, the lines should not rhyme. It is not writing, it's just words and phrases. You put those down, you do not read it. You write as fast and hard as you can until you pause to take a breath. At that moment, do not read it, put it away, and a week or so later, pull the piece of paper out with what you've scrawled on it, or typed on it, or is on your screen and disk on it, and circle the words and phrases that come up off the pages at you. Those are emotional telegrams. Your subconscious is delivering signals to you. They're saying, hey, recognize me. I want this word is important to me, and the me is your subconscious. So using those words and phrases you've circled, word associate. Flash off those words and phrases, and writing at white-hot speed again until you have time to take a breath, at which time do not read it, put it away, put it back in the drawer. A week later, pull it out, repeat the process until a narrative starts to form. We always tell stories in our culture. I don't know any culture where they do not tell stories, but in case there is one, in the culture I know, we are either born with this genetically or created by the environment, but even a toddler speaking its first words will say something about store, man, sucker, car, and of course the mother or the father freaks out because this child is telling them a story. When you see a narrative start to form, then you can bring your conscious mind to bear on it, and you can then write a story that your deepest self wants you to write. Not a story that you think the market is demanding. If you think you see a trend in writing in terms of a marketplace for books or movies, it's already too late. Books take a year, year and a half to get into publication. Movies might be 2, 3, 4, 5 years in development. If you see